Press GA099334. Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to the Midday News.
We only want to alert the public. The COVID is real, and therefore protect yourself. Observe the national protocol measures to protect yourself, protect your family.
This bulletin is live on Joy 99.7 FM here in Accra. It's also live on Love 99.5 FM in Kumasi. Affiliates across Ghana, including Dreams FM and A1 Radio in Bolgatanga, Kekeli Radio in Ho. Around the world, we are live on myjoyonline.com. In this edition, Ghana Medical Association asks Ghanaians to take their safety into their own hands as it describes the country's COVID-19 situation as alarming and dire, confirming that the country's health facilities are now stretched beyond limits. We hear from experts who say we are nearing a crisis point.
I can certainly predict it would go higher than it is presently. So I'll say we are approaching a potential crisis situation.
Meanwhile, Managing Trustee of Ghana COVID-19 Private Sector Fund accuses government of politicizing management of the disease in the country.
You know, the politics must stop. The suppression of data must stop. The deliberate disregard or suspension of tracing to help keep the numbers down must also stop.
Also, as basic schools prepare to reopen, we've been asking parents if it is prudent for children to return to school in the wake of a surge in the coronavirus cases.
It's not safe, but you always have to weigh.
For me, I'm shaking small. If they wait small, it will be fine.
We'll hear from them live and speak with the General Secretary of NAT. 2020 NDC presidential candidate John Mahama's legal team describes 7-member panel tasked to hear election petition case as unfair and unbalanced since majority of the judges are appointed by NPP government.
Often in matters like this, you have the most senior judges of the court sitting on the matter. Instead of having 6 of the judges being NPP appointed judges and 1 judge being an NDC appointed judge, I would prefer the balance in the panel.
President Akufo-Addo's legal team has meanwhile been defending the judges, insisting this description is bogus.
NDC is on a path to smear and undermine the integrity of the Supreme Court and the justices of the Supreme Court.
And in sports.
Black Stars defender Jonathan Mensah has no regrets about choosing to play in the MLS despite a lack of national team opportunities. Details in about 20 minutes.
And also we are live in Parliament as the drama continues. This time the NPP MPs, some of whom have arrived as early as 4 a.m. to Parliament to occupy the right-hand side of the Speaker as the House prepares to resume sitting this afternoon. The NDC side have been reacting.
We've already occupied and elected a speaker. If I finish eating the soup and licking everything and finish the food and you come here licking the end of the plate, you are most miserable.
That and more here on the Midday News with me, Emefa Apau. You definitely want to stay for details. Thanks for your company. In our very first story today, the country's doctors are asking every Ghanaian to take their safety into their own hands as they describe the country's COVID situation as alarming and dire. In a statement, the Ghana Medical Association blames the sharp rise in the number of infections on the total disregard for and lack of enforcement of all relevant COVID-19 preventive protocols throughout the country and the importation of cases from other countries. We have details of that statement for you shortly. First, the latest figures as published by the Ghana Health Service. Head of our health desk, Fred Smith, is here with that. Fred, what are the new figures?
Well, the latest figures, new cases are 175,404 active cases, bringing our confirmed cases since the outbreak to 56,981. 341 have died. The challenge here is we have as many as 40 who have severe COVID cases. This is very unusual.
If you're not wearing your mask, this is a good time to grab it. Now, in the last hour, Chief Executive of the Ghana Chamber of Bulk Oil Distributors, who helped build a 100-bed infectious disease center at the Ga East Hospital, has been speaking about the situation on News Desk with Mama Vio Uswabwaje, in which he expresses his disgust at the manner in which information is being managed.
Get COVID today, nobody's going to be asking you who you've been in contact with. Nobody's going to come in to try and test the people you've come into contact with. It's as if nobody cares. It's like as if we are back to business as usual. I mean, that to some extent will be acceptable under certain circumstances, but not under a COVID circumstance at all. No tracing goes on. I've had friends, I have colleagues in my office who have got COVID, and when they get COVID, nobody reaches out to really ask You know, where have you been? Have you been working? Where are those there? Nobody reaches out to see if you have those you are in touch with also having COVID, so we can help stem the spread of this virus.
So, Senor,
there is nothing like that whatsoever going on.
Senor, I've got to ask you, so how do we get back to taking this disease seriously?
I mean, it definitely goes straight to it goes back to government. First of all, the politics must stop. You know, the politics must stop. The suppression of data must stop. The deliberate, disregard or suspension of tracing to help keep the numbers down must also stop. People really need to know that this is widespread. It is not 1,000 and whatever it is that's being bandied around. This is dishonest. It must stop. Start being truthful with the people so people realize that there's a real agency in the country. Otherwise, sooner than later, all our health systems are going to crash, and you will not even get health access for simple diseases, even like malaria at some point.
That's the chief executive of the Ghana Chamber of Boko Distributors, and they helped build a 100-bed infectious disease center. He led the private sector team. Senyor Hosi there, speaking to Mama Vio Uswabuaji. Now in Kumasi, the medical director at the Komfo Teaching Hospital, Professor Bafo Kofi-Opoku, has been speaking to journalists, says he's worried about the rates at which the virus is spreading in the region.
For most parts of November, we had no patients there. But as I speak to you today, we have 9 patients in the treatment center. And the positivity rate is rising very fast. In fact, if we were to draw the gradient, the total number of positive cases we had in the hospital for the months of October, November, December, if you put them together, they are less than the positive cases we have had in the first 12 days of January.
That's the medical director at the Komfo Teaching Hospital, Professor Bafo Kofi-Opoku. Virologist with the Kumasi Center for Collaborative Research, Dr. John Amwesi, says the country's situation is heading for crisis point.
The situation is of concern, and it's not limited to Ghana. It's actually across the entire continent of Africa. Worst hit being South Africa. Zambia is in a crisis situation. Mozambique is really bad. You can also think of even Burkina Faso, Mali, Senegal, and even our own neighbor, Nigeria, also really bad. This is attributable to 2 things, at least in Ghana. One would be the celebrations following the elections, and perhaps most importantly, the Christmas and New Year festivities and the gatherings that took place at various levels. I would describe it as we are approaching a crisis point. It is going to go a bit higher. How high, I cannot tell right now because we need to do some extra modeling, but I can certainly predict it would go higher than it is presently. So I'll say we are approaching a potential crisis situation.
In the light of it, is it safe to reopen schools, especially for the lower primary, and what impact will that have on the current COVID situation? Dr. Amwesi breaks it down.
Once we reopen schools and there's increased gathering of students and faculty, the cases will go up. I think this goes without saying. It will surely happen. The degree to which they will go up is what we need to be careful about. We have seen here in this country how even after opening, if we do the right things, we only see a very minimal increase in numbers of cases. Point in time is the registration or the opening of the new register, and also the voting. I think we conducted ourselves really excellently with regard to the protocols during the registration exercise and during the voting exercise. That it hardly impacted on the number of cases. So it means that things can be done correctly. Now, what's the ability to do it right? In our settings, it's very difficult to adhere to the physical distancing.
That's Dr. John Amwesi, virologist with the Kumasi Center for Collaborative Research. Let's now speak to the Ghana Medical Association. They issued a statement asking us to take our health situation into our own hands. General Secretary Dr. Justice Yankson joins us here on the Midday News. Thank you very much for your time, Dr. Justice Yankson. So how serious is the situation from where you stand?
Well, as far as the Ghana Medical Association is concerned, our analysis of the situation can be summed up this way. It is alarming and it is dire. Reasons for this are very simple. As we speak, we have a lot of cases that need inpatient care who are not even getting access to the current treatment centers that we have. There are people who have been tested. Their positivity in terms of post the test and what has to be done is not happening. Reason, some of these positive results have not even been fed into the national database. For such people who haven't had access to hospitals, what it means is that they are also not even mapped to health personnel who will even supervise their home care. So they are on their own, resorting to whatever kind of medication that they may come across. And that seems to be the situation.
Then it raises the question about our management as a country.
Well, we as a people, I think collectively, what is happening we can describe as one that is self-inflicted. We knew all the right things to do. We did all the good work that had the praise of the whole world, basically. The entire community out there praised us for our efforts. But suddenly, we are beginning to lose it. And we need to quickly go back to the table and put the wrongs that we have inflicted on ourselves to where they ought to be, correct them, and then we can be saved.
At what point, Dr. Yangsing?
There's a huge risk of exponential rising.
At what point did we go to sleep in terms of our management of COVID-19?
It is the whole national response, not just the clinical management. It's the whole national response. If you look at it, the period prior to elections, soon after elections into the festivities, those were the periods that we really lost our guard to a large extent. And that allowed all kinds of gatherings to take place, and we are seeing the end result.
We're grateful, Dr. Justice Yangsing. This is a matter that will certainly probe further. But with basic schools set to reopen after almost 8 months of closure, concerns are being raised about how prepared some of these schools are to welcome their students in the midst of growing number of COVID-19 cases. So the latest figures published by the Ghana Health Service shows a relentless surge in cases, and you heard Fred Smith talk about it. We'll speak shortly to the General Secretary of the Ghana National Association of Teachers, Thomas Musa, on what his association's assessment of preparedness for the academic year is in terms of preventing the spread of coronavirus. But first, here are some parents on whether or not they think it's safe for students to go back to school.
For me, I'm shaking small. If they wait small, it will be fine. But if they say they can control it, we don't have anything to say.
For me personally, although it's not safe, but you always have to weigh the site, and that's what we have, what we call opportunity cost. The children have kept too long staying in the house. Since March, my daughter has not been to school. So for me, I feel that it's about time they went to school. God will take care of them.
It's not anything so bad, though the sickness we hear is still arising or is coming more. But children have also stayed for home for too long a time now. And it's becoming a burden or problem to the parents. So we all feel, or I feel, it is good they go back to school. The only thing is that the teachers and the parents must take the necessary protocol measures so that at least those that they cannot control themselves, the teachers will control them.
The government has tried to put some measures into place. So I think the students have kept long at home. So it's better they go they'll go and learn. Other than that, they'll be in the house, and one day I don't know what to say. They'll be in the house and they will not know anything. So if measures have been put in place for the children to go to school, it's better they go to school.
The views of some parents there. Now, Thomas Musa is General Secretary of the Ghana National Association of Teachers. He joins us here on the Midday News. Thank you very much for your time here, Mr. Thomas Musa. So as an association, how will you first rate our readiness in terms of preparation to receive our students starting on Monday?
Okay, thank you very much, and good afternoon to your good self, and also Happy New Year to yourself and to all the viewers and listeners, and also to our teaming teachers. We say may the good Lord bless them and keep all of them for the good work they are doing. Now, before I come to the substantive issue of the reopening that was announced by our President, His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, some few weeks ago, it is important for me to say two things. The first one is that we appreciate and we also acknowledge the magnitude of the challenges confronting us at this particular time, particularly based on as the incidence of the COVID is going up, and aside that the consent expressed by the parents. But there are other things that we can also look at as before I move on to the substantive thing, as I've said. The very first thing is that as we speak now, our population is a little above 30 million according to the Ghana Living Standard Survey, and that's around 7. If you do analysis of that particular data and take into consideration a margin of error,
Mr. Musa, unfortunately, we don't have too much time on the midday news. Of course, we'll do you on the polls and other programs, but I quickly want to find out, as an association, our readiness in terms of receiving our students in respect of COVID-19.
Briefly, our people are ready. We have told our people across the country that between now till next week and next 2 weeks, they should visit, but we have our offices across the districts and the regions. So they should visit their schools, and the most important thing is that we should have the teaching and learning environment secured to ensure that both the students and the teachers are secured, to ensure that we do not export any sickness to the house to go and affect the parents or any old man in the house.
Okay. Thank you very much. That's Thomas Musa, General Secretary of the Ghana National Association of Teachers, NAT. This is the Midday News here on Joy 99.7 FM, and 2020 NDC presidential candidate John Mahama's legal team has described the 7-member panel tasked to hear the election petition as an unfair and unbalanced. Spokesperson of the team, Dr. Abdul Basit Bamba, says the panel mainly comprises judges appointed to the court by NPP government. Chief Justice Kwesi Enin-Yeboah is joined by Justice Yawapo and 5 other relatively new judges to hear the case. Court correspondent Joseph Akable in the following report looks at the judges when they join the Apex Court and some of the notable public interest cases they have handled.
The petition is being heard by Chief Justice Kwesi Enin-Yeboah, Justices Yawapo, Mafusau, Nene Amegacha, Professor Ashikote, Mariama Owusu, and Gertrude Tokonu. The CJ was appointed to the Supreme Court by the MPP's John Ajekum Kufuor in 2008 and elevated as Chief Justice in 2020 by President Akufo-Addo. He was part of the judges during the 2012-2013 election petition, and in his ruling called for fresh elections to be organized since the polls were fraught with irregularities and statutory violations that have been proven. Justice Yawape was appointed to the Supreme Court by the NDC John Mahama in June 2015. One of the most recent public interest cases he participated in is the case filed by the AG asking that the court sets aside an injunction granted against the gazetting of John Peter Mewu as Hohoi MP. Justice Mafusa was appointed to the Supreme Court in July 2018 by President Akufo-Addo. He was previously a Court of Appeal judge. He was also part of the panel in the Sao case at the Supreme Court mentioned earlier and a Ghana School of Law case, and agreed with his colleagues in terms of the decision. Justice Nene Amegacha was appointed as a Justice of the Supreme Court in July 2018 by President Akufo-Addo. Prior to that, he was a private legal practitioner. He participated in the Amidu eligibility case, the Ghana School of Law monopoly case, and the EC Voters Register compilation. In all these cases, he agreed with his colleagues mostly unanimously in dismissing it or with a majority opinion. Justice Professor Ashikote joined the Supreme Court in July 2018 and was part of the EC Voters Register case. Justice Mariama Owusu also joined the Supreme Court in December 2019 and participated in the Voters Register case that unanimously held that the EC can compile a new register. Justice Gertrude Tokonu was appointed to the Supreme Court in December 2019 and participated in the Sao case as well.
Joseph Akable, court correspondent there. Now, speaking on the AM show this morning, Dr. Abdul Basit Bamba, who is one of the spokespersons for Mr. Mahama's legal team, says the panel could have been composed of more experienced judges.
Well, to be frank with you, I was extremely disappointed with the composition of the panel. And it is not to take away anything from the integrity and the competence of the judges on the panel. Look, this is a very, very important case. When you have a case like this, a case with high political stakes about who has been validly elected as the president of the Republic of Ghana, it's always important, despite whatever power the Chief Justice may have in empaneling a court, to make sure that you have a balanced and a fair panel. I do not consider this panel to be fair and balanced for a number of reasons.
But the president's legal team disagrees with this view. Spokesperson Kojo Oponkruma says Mr. Mahama's team is engaged in a plot to set the court up for public ridicule.
NDC is on a path to smear and undermine the integrity of the Supreme Court and the justices of the Supreme Court. And they are doing that because they are clear in their mind that this petition before the court is a ruse. And I explain to you. The first evidence you notice is Muntaka Muhammad Mubarak, who goes on national television and alleges, without more, just a mere allegation, that a Supreme Court judge has been involved in calling one NDC member of parliament elect, trying to convince him to vote for Speaker Michael Quaid during the election of Speaker. The real object of that allegation is to begin to poison the wells ahead of this litigation. If the Chief Justice sits on a panel or does not sit on a panel, a justice may or may not be delivered. That when you have a panel of 7 or a panel of 9, it can affect whether or not justice will be delivered. And that when you have an older or a younger bench, it can affect how justice may or may not be delivered. It is one of the most bogus analysis that I have ever heard when it comes to jurisprudence.
Kojo Oponkruma is a member of President Akufo-Addo's legal team. This is the Midday News here on Joy 99.7 FM. Our top stories. Ghana Medical Association asks Ghanaians to take their safety into their own hands as it describes the country's COVID-19 situation as alarming and dire. We heard from some experts, and also managing trustee of Ghana COVID-19 Private Sector Fund accuses government of politicizing management of the disease in the country. We'll take a quick break. When we return, we have sports and also take you to Parliament where the drama continues. This time, the NPP MPs arrived as early as 4 a.m. into Parliament to occupy the right-hand side of the Speaker. We'll hear from the NDC side.
We've already occupied and elected a speaker. If I finish eating the soup and licking everything and finish the food and you come here licking the end of the plate, you are most miserable.
This bulletin is live in the Volta region on Jubilee Radio Keta, Volta Premier and Kekali Radio in Ho, Lolonyo FM in Hohoi, Pando FM in Pando, Fafa Radio in Joje, Radio Hogba in Angloga, Klenam Radio Bato, Victory FM Aflao. In the eastern region, we're on K-Poly Radio in Kofrodia. In the northern region, we're on Bishara Radio, Radio 123 and Radio Justice in Tamale. And in Savannah region, we're on Inkelege FM in Bole. In the upper east region, we're live on A1 Radio and Dreams FM in Bogatanga and Radio Fumbese in Fumbese. In Upper West, we're live on Radio Sonmale in Wa, Radio Freed in Nandom, Radio Wa in Wa, and Bolu FM in Bolu. In the Bono East region, we're on Gaskia FM in Techiman. In Bono region, we're on Sky FM and Parrots FM in Sunyai. Central region, we're live on ATL FM in Cape Coast. And in the Western region, we're on Radio Max in Takrady.
Thanks for staying with us here on the Midday News, live on Joy 99.7 FM, also on myjoyonline.com as well as Facebook Live. It's time for sports. Gary L. Smith has the latest.
Found the sound bites about the soup and licking, and that was very, very interesting.
You wait for it.
Can't wait for that. But in the meantime, on the sport, Black Stars defender Jonathan Mensah says the success of leading Columbus Crew to win the Major League Soccer Championship and having played over 100 games should make sense to those who criticize his decision to play in the MLS. Despite the lack of national team opportunities in recent call-ups since his move, Mensah believes he still is in good shape and in good form to merit a senior national team call-up.
I wouldn't say I regret any decision that I made based on me moving to the MLS. And I don't think I sacrificed anything for the national team. I'm always sacrificing personally, but I don't believe me moving to the MLS. I sacrificed my national team playing time for anything else because I want to be in a place where I'm doing well so that the national team will call me and I'll come help the team. So if that move pissed someone off, the they didn't have my interest in being part of the team. That is not my problem to think about or to solve. So I'm always going to be me. I'm always going to keep doing my best. I'm going to always represent Ghana outside Ghana the best possible way that I can.
And we are going to end the sport.
And I'm going to continue.
And quickly, Jonathan Mensah plays in the MLS, and something people would want to know, it is the 8th most exciting league in the world. That's according to the renowned CIES Observatory. So, yeah.
Thank you very much, Gary. And let me take you to Parliament now, because the quest to attain majority status in Parliament continues today as both the governing NPP and opposition maintain they must be recognized as such. 3 meetings called by the Speaker, Alban Bagbing, earlier this week to resolve the impasse ended inconclusively. NPP MPs today arrived early, some as early as 4 a.m. in the House today to occupy the right-hand side of the Speaker as the House prepares to resume sitting this afternoon. Parliamentary correspondent Joseph Opoku-Gakpo joins us with the very latest. So, Joseph, what reasons does the NPP give for this early arrival?
Well, they say that they didn't want to allow for a situation where the NDC MPs occupy the Speaker's right-hand side in the previous sitting on the dawn of 7th January, which is actually why a lot of them came in early. Speaker Alban Bagbin walked into the chamber about 3 minutes ago. He's speaking, and he's been acknowledging that he's grateful to both sides for the comportment that has been seen today. And he's very much happy that this is a sign that things will be calm going forward. And that's what he's expecting of members of parliament. So he's about to then, after his opening remarks, then allow the leadership to also deliver opening remarks. And then the real business of the House for the day will begin.
Now, you've been interacting with the side of the NDC on this. What have they been saying?
And so the NPP MP for New Adubiaso, for example, say they think that the right-hand side is their right because they hold the majority, which is why they are there. But the NDC, including its MP for Ningo Pram, Sam George, is convinced that there is no majority in the House.
We've already occupied and elected a speaker. If I finish eating the soup and licking everything, and finish the food, and you come here licking the end of the plate, you are most miserable. We heard that they came here at 4 a.m. this morning. You know, let me tell you the backstory to that. Yesterday at 8:30 p.m., myself and my chief whip, Honorable Muntaka, had to come to Parliament to take care of a few things in the evening. As we arrived, the Job 600 lift, we met Atachia, Honorable Atachia, coming out of the lift. Then he said to us, what are you people coming to do here at this time? Then we said, but we have come for tomorrow's sitting. And he said, are you sure? Oh, this time again? As soon as he left, he picked the phone and called his people. And they came here at 4 a.m. and they've been sleeping in the chamber. Can you see how miserable they are? We knew we were going to come at 10 o'clock. You get it? But you see, they have come at 4 a.m. Would they be coming at 4 a.m. every day? Would they come to Parliament? But you see, it's good for the Ghanaian people. It then means that we're going to have punctuality in Parliament. But like I said, let's see after 1 week.
That's the Ningo from MP. Some George, apologies, I couldn't help it. But we can't wait for tonight. I'm talking about the virtual 90s jam happening here on Joy 99.7 FM. It will be a night of great resounding sing-alongs and nostalgic moments that you cannot afford to miss. Luckily, you won't, because you'll be listening from the comfort of your homes, your cars, your offices, wherever you want to listen to it from, because it will be virtual. DJ Black, Andy Dusty, Sammy Forsin, DJ Billy Ocean, and many more. You never know. I'll be on the ones and twos as well. And they've been telling us what to expect.
Yeah, we're taking it back, you know what I mean? Hey. Started from 1990 to 1999.
That's right.
We got you all in check like Busta Rhymes.
That's right.
Show starts at 7.
Yeah.
We're virtual.
That's right.
You know, we were popping off my man, Charlene Monfunk, a.k.a. Some beat.
Carlos Forsen.
Okay, Carlos Forsen.
And the
we're hitting off. You know, we got a special surprise during our virtual 90s jam.
This is definitely a night to remember. This Friday, 15 January, celebrating live in the comfort of our arbor. This is the 90s jam, virtual edition. Billy Ocean is gonna rock you to the top mode.
Expect good mixes from the Grandmaster, because this Friday at 7 p.m. I'm taking you back to the old school, and I want you to remember that the mixes coming this Friday is gonna be extraordinary.
And those are the Grandmasters, DJ Black, Annie Dossi, Sammy Force, and DJ Billy Ocean, and the Grandmaster. And of course, they'll be on tonight is a virtual edition. DJ Akable wants to drop you something.
What did he say? Turn it on. What be this? Hold up. All the lights in this sky, put them off. Put them off. I want to see everybody's lights are up right now. Put your lighters up. Put your lighters up right now. Lights is down. Let's do this. Wicked, wicked. Jungle is massive. Wicked, wicked. Yeah. Jungle is massive. Lights wicked, wicked. Lights up. Put your lighters 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 up.
And I was hoping Akable would drop us something, but he rather brought us back, took us back to 90s Jam 2020. And that's how it will be tonight, live on Joy 99.7 FM, starting at 9 p.m., right? And Mapizzo and the rest of us will all be here 7 p.m. Okay, starts at 7 p.m. right here. And that's it for the Midday News here on Joy 99.7 FM. There's more news when you log on to myjoyonline.com. Pastor Mensa Otabil has Living Word right after this.